As a parent, few things are more distressing than facing a motion to restrict your parenting time, especially when the claims are false or exaggerated. In the next few minutes, I'll explain your legal rights and what steps you can take to protect your relationship with your child. It's very important that a person understands what their legal rights are when responding to a motion to restrict their parenting time. Unfortunately, if it's granted on a temporary basis, that means your rights will be suspended or restricted until there's a hearing. The good news is the law requires a hearing on a very quick basis. So that means they can't just restrict your parenting time forever without having an evidentiary hearing in front of a judge. This means it's important to gather the information, the evidence, and the witnesses to defend yourself as quickly as possible. So a motion to restrict parenting time can have a drastic effect on your parenting time. First of all, it'll be granted on a temporary basis, meaning that in the immediate future, your parenting time will be restricted. And most likely, you'll only get supervised visits with your children. And if at a hearing, the court determines that there's any validity to these allegations, then there's going to be a long-term restriction on your parenting time. Depending on the circumstances, that could be weeks or even months. So if someone makes false or exaggerated claims to try to restrict your parenting time, it's very important to gather the evidence as fast as possible. Because there's a limited time window for when this hearing is going to be held, it's important to start right away and talking to any available witnesses that might know information about these incidents, to gather text messages, voicemails. So I often have clients ask me, how do I defend against false claims or exaggerated claims? And it's very difficult to prove a negative. Ultimately, the burden of proof is going to be on the other parent who's making these allegations, but that doesn't mean you should just leave it at that. It is important to gather every piece of evidence you can to try to prove your innocence, because you don't want to leave any stone unturned, you don't want to leave anything to chance. You want to make sure that you fight for your rights as a parent. Sometimes parents come to us when a motion has been filed and they want to see if they can work something out, either through mediation or through settlement talks. Due to the nature of these kind of cases where there's a limited time window, we really can't do mediation, but that doesn't prevent us from reaching out to the other side and trying to reach some kind of settlement. If it's a matter of a small issue, maybe we can resolve that issue and address whatever concerns are brought up through these motions and get some parenting time back before the hearing's even held. So parents oftentimes, when they get a case like this filed against them, where a motion to restrict their parenting time has been filed and granted, they get very angry or very upset. It's extremely important to not lash out, to not reach out to the other side and to make inappropriate comments or inappropriate statements. It's also inappropriate to try to coach a child into saying something to the other parent or to a third party to try to affect the outcome of the case. What you need to be focused on is the evidence to prove your innocence, to prove that you should not have any restriction on your parenting time. Facing false or exaggerated claims and a motion to restrict parenting time is challenging, but with the right approach, you can defend your rights and protect your relationship with your child. If you're in this situation, reach out to our team for a case assessment. We'll fight for your parental rights.